So you think you know about the Old West? Sure, I believe you, but do you know about the Old West? You see, Frontierland has been part of Disneyland since opening day. Yes, 1955, aka when real cowboys roamed the plains, or something. I don't know my history that much, but Frontierland has gone through a lot of changes over the years, which is why today I wanted to bring you a list of every lost Frontierland attraction from 1955 to today. One opening day staple of Frontierland is the Golden Horseshoe Theater. Still there today, you can still go see shows at the Golden Horseshoe, but it has gone through a lot of different shows. Opening day 1955 all the way through 1986 was a very popular show at the theater, the Golden Horseshoe Review. This original show was one of Walt Disney's favorite things to do in the park, and it was very popular, which explains why it had such a long runtime. Rumor has it Walt Disney would go and see the show a couple times a week. He would often bring his friends in along to show them the show because he just enjoyed it that much. So the Golden Horseshoe Review, very special. It was a musical, comedy, kind of Western show in that theater. As times changed, the shows evolved and multiple shows started cycling in at the same time. Up next was the Golden Horseshoe Jamboree from 1986 through 1994. This show, again, was a Western musical comedy, but was a little more rowdy, a little more slapstick. And then in 1994 came Billy Hill and the Hillbillies. These guys are a very talented act of musicians. They were there up through 2012, which afterwards they were moved over to Big Thunder Ranch and performed over there instead of in the Golden Horseshoe, as their popularity kind of fizzled out, I suppose. But in 2014, when they left Disney, they were actually picked up by Knott's Berry Farm with a different name, but essentially the same act was going on at Knott's Berry Farm, which is a little bit interesting. And then you got a very short-lived show, the all-new Woody's Roundup, a Toy Story show in the Golden Horseshoe. It only lasted from 99 to 2000. Very short, but I think it was very cute. You got the characters from Toy Story, goofy announcer dude, and a lot of fun music. It looked like a cute little show. It didn't last too long, though, before the Golden Horseshoe was reverted back to the classic musical comedy that you see today. And that's everything that's been cycled through that venue. Of course, the menu has changed a lot too, but we're not talking about food right now, so let's get on with the attractions. Another opening day attraction was the Davy Crockett Museum. It was a small walk-through museum featuring Alamo and Frontier artifacts that had wax figures, old firearms, things of that nature. It was only open from 1955 to 1956, however. It was quickly shut down and turned into retail space, which it still is today at Frontierland gift shop. Frontierland was also once home to a ride that never had technical difficulties ever. Although it could still have a lot of unexpected things happen, it was pack mules, living mules that guests could ride. From 1955 to 1956, you could ride the pack mules through a man-made desert wilderness, which only got upgraded over time. In 1956, it was upgraded to the Rainbow Ridge pack mules. The town of Rainbow Ridge was constructed in the area, an old western kind of ghost town looking. I guess it's not a ghost town because it was an active, live town, human.
A real town.
And parts of that town are still here today at the end of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. There you go through that little remaining piece of Rainbow Ridge, the town there at the end of the ride. You used to be able to pass through that and much more on pack mules. And of course, they upgraded again from 1960 through 1973. You could ride the pack mules through nature's Wonderland. Disney spent $1.8 million at the time in 1960 to upgrade this area and to just bring it to life in a way that still affects Frontierland today, although a lot of the actual pieces from it are no longer there. They added over 200 animatronic animals. They added a lot more desert scenery, and most importantly, they added Cascade Peak. It was this towering 75-foot desert waterfall, and pictures of Cascade Peak, I wish I could see it today. It looked like it was absolutely beautiful. Really, the whole area. I like Big Thunder, but the historical Frontierland looks absolutely stunning, and you could ride pack mules right on through it up until 1973. Pack mules, however, were not the only lucky animals to get to drag hundreds of visitors through the desert every day. There was also a horse-drawn stagecoach, a classic Western-style stagecoach. You could hop aboard it and get pulled. You could go on the stagecoach through that same Frontierland desert wilderness. It was only open 1955 to 1960 before it was shut down to make more room for Nature's Wonderland. Okay, we're getting to the good stuff now, the real meat, the core of Frontierland history. Just a year after the park opened in 1956, the Rainbow Caverns mine train opened up right in that same area with the mules and the stagecoach. In 1956 it opened. It ran through 1959 as it was, just a small miniature train. You could board, get pulled around through that desert scenery, and it ended with the Rainbow Caverns, which, from what I've heard, I've of course never seen it myself, they were unspeakably beautiful. You know, in Big Thunder you go through the one cavern that has some of the rainbow geysers and stuff. That's a tribute to that, but from what I understand, it doesn't compare to what the real thing was. And the ride only gets better from there, because with that upgrade to Nature's Wonderland in 1960, opened the mine train through Nature's Wonderland. And if I could pick one Disney attraction to go back in time and experience, I gotta say I think this would be it. It was kind of like Jungle Cruise in the Frontier. It was a big, long, narrated ride, not live narrated, but a recording that took you all through and all around Nature's Wonderland. A very long ride that you saw everything. You boarded in that town of Rainbow Ridge. You went all through the desert. You saw those 200 animatronics. Animatronics. I didn't mean to say that, but
I did mean to say that.
Grizzly bears catching fish. And before I get a little sidetracked a little more, the last remaining piece of this ride is actually right across from Big Thunder. There's that pool with the mine tunnel. That mine tunnel is an original piece of the ride. There used to be a bridge that would go over the water, and grizzly bears would be in the water fishing, and you can still to this day see animatronic fish. Occasionally, they're struggling, but occasionally they'll be jumping around in that water. An original piece of the mine trains through Nature's Wonderland. But you would go all through, see these cactuses that look like people, these spinning, tumbling rocks, all geysers, mud pools, hundreds of animals. You would get to see Cascade Peak and go right alongside it. It looked beautiful. It looked fun. It looked like one of those Walt Disney classics that it just can't, you know, Pirates, Jungle Cruise, Haunted Mansion, something about them is just so original and so Disney. This is one of those core Disney attractions, and it closed in 1977 to make way for Big Thunder. And don't get me wrong, Big Thunder is one of my all-time favorite rides, but when I start thinking about the mine train through Nature's Wonderland, I start to wonder what's really worth it. It's gone now though. Big Thunder's there. I love Big Thunder. Let's stop thinking about it and move on to the next thing before I have some existential crisis. I don't know. Either way, I think it was so cool that all of these rides, the pack mules, the stagecoaches, the mine train, all operated in the same area of the land. It was a world, this frontier that you could enter with the town there, a connected universe. There's nothing like that. There's no other rides in Disney that intertwine in that way, and I think it's very, very special. Cool piece of Disney history for sure. We're approaching the final things here, so let's do a bit of a speed round for these next little guys. From 1956 through 1963, there was a mineral hall museum / store. It had geodes, rocks, gems, whatnot that you can look at and you could buy. Critter Country used to be an Indian Native American village from 1955 all the way through 71. kind of actually a really interesting piece of Disney history with that frontier cowboys and Indians vibe going on. It was a little village you could look at with teepees, Native American longhouses, and actually tribal Native American people were the cast members working there doing ceremonies, dances, and whatnot throughout the day. At the same time, the Davy Crockett Explorer canoes were called the Indian War Canoes. And then you had Big Thunder Ranch from 1986, open all the way till 2016 when it was closed to make way for Star Wars Land. But it was a big, expansive area, had a barbecue, southern frontier style barbecue, music. Like I said, Billy Hill and the Hillbillies were there for a time, kind of live shows and stuff. And then you had the Mike Fink keel boats, which were pretty interesting. They were little boats that you could get in or on top of and tour around the rivers of America. There were 2 of them, and supposedly they were actual functioning set pieces, at least initially, from the Davy Crockett television show, which is kind of fascinating, but they only operated seasonally 1956 through 1997. They were open sometimes in busy seasons, and then they were closed until one day in 1997, the top of one of the boats was loaded with too many people over capacity, and it actually capsized. And of course, the ride just shut down forever. They said, okay, no more of that. Although one of the keel boats has been restored, and you can still see it along the rivers of America by the cabin out there, which is actually Mike Fink's cabin. So there you go. Pretty fun. Don't keel over on your keelboat though. Stay afloat next time. And I have saved the best for last. If you're really a deep Disney fan, you're probably wondering why I haven't said this already and so excited that I'm gonna say it now. It was just a little patch of heaven. In fact, it was called Little Patch of Heaven, and it was a tiny little petting zoo within Big Thunder Ranch to promote everyone's favorite Disney movie, Home on the Range. And it was opened for 1 year in 2004. And then it was closed. And that is the most recent thing to shut down besides Big Thunder Ranch as a whole. Frontierland hasn't changed a whole lot in the past couple years, but it has gone through major changes in its history. Most notably, Nature's Wonderland becoming Big Thunder Mountain, wishing I could see one but still have the other, getting existential again. Either way, Frontierland, I believe it's underrated. It is a wonderful little area of the park, and now you know more of its history. It's had a lot of attractions, a lot of things to do, cycle through. It hasn't always been what it is today, but that's what it is, or that's what it was. I'll be seeing you next week. If you didn't see it yesterday, look, I've been making YouTube videos for 11 years now, and most of them have been awful, okay? That's fine. But I've been getting a little better, I like to think. And yesterday, I posted a video on my new channel, Peachio, that I have to say is my personal favorite video I've ever made out of hundreds and hundreds and hours of content that I put. I don't even want to explain to you guys how much stupid stuff I've put on like 10 different channels on YouTube, whatever. Yesterday's video is the one I'm most proud of. I've laughed at the most. I just had so much fun making it. So it would be so special for me if you could check it out. But if not, that's fine. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you on Disneylander next Saturday. I'll see you on Peachio next Friday. And just have a wonderful week, really. This week, you're gonna wake up tomorrow morning, or Monday morning, or Tuesday, whatever day you wake up, and you're gonna say, this is gonna be a good one. And that's why I'm gonna say, that's why I said to you, so have a good one.